It's been a while since you have published an album, since you've put out a record. And what made you decide to do it now? It's been, what, more than a decade, more than 13 years, and now running for the drum.
I put out an album when I feel like going on the road. I've never put out an album according to a record company's schedule. Because there's no sense in making a record if you're not going to tour with it. So for a while, I didn't record. I was raising my son. I made an album called Coincidence and Likely Stories, which is a pretty hard-hitting album. I love it, with my co-producer, Chris Burkett. And it was the first ever album to be delivered via the internet. This was in the late 80s. And I had gotten into computers because of music, so computers were easy for me because it was music. So we sent MIDI files over, over the internet from my studio in Hawaii to go on tape in London. The next album that I made was called Up Where We Belong, and it has my Academy Award song. But it's a collection of all the songs that people always ask for in concerts. And then another 10 years, 10, 15 years go by, and I feel like going on the road again. Because in between, I'm doing things. In between, I think the public probably thinks that when an artist is touring, that's when they're creative. But you don't have time to be creative. You're too busy. So I took all this time off, and I developed my teaching project, which is called the Cradleboard Teaching Project. And basically, we write interactive multimedia curriculum in Native Studies. And you can see more about that at cradleboard.org. But this economic time that happened during the Bush years, I knew we weren't going to get the funding that we needed. So slowly we drew the project down a little bit, and my desire was to make it free on the internet. So 2 years ago, that dream came true, and I was ready to record again. I had been writing all this time, so my co-producer, Chris Burkett, came over to Hawaii 5 times from France, and we recorded.
Why did you move to Hawaii?
Oh, gosh, I moved to Hawaii about 42 years ago, just because I was kind of tired of being so famous, and I wanted to be anonymous. And so I lived on an island in the Hawaiian chain under an assumed name for many, many years until Sesame Street.
Singer-songwriter Buffy Sainte-Marie. We'll have more with the award-winning folk icon in a minute. Stay with us.
Indian legislation's on the desk of a do-right congressman. Now, he don't know much about the issue, so he picks up the phone and he asks advice of the senator out in Indian country. A darling of the energy companies who are ripping off what's left of the reservations. I learned a safety rule. I don't know who to thank. Don't stand between the reservation and the corporate bank. They'll send in federal tanks. It isn't nice, but it's reality. Bury my heart in wounded knee. Spies, we get the liars by the fire, and we get the FBI. and told us she died of exposure.
Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee by Buffy Sainte-Marie. We return to the final part of my discussion with the Cree Indian singer-songwriter and activist. She joined the cast of Sesame Street in 1975 for over 5 years. I asked her to talk about her experience with the wildly popular American children's television series.
All of a sudden, my record sales and record airplay, you know, took a nosedive. It just wasn't there anymore. I had no idea there was something fishy going on. I was called by Sesame Street. They said, would you come on and say the alphabet, you know, count from 1 to 10 like Stevie Wonder, and everybody does. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. But have you ever done any Native American programming? And they said, no. So I said, would you like to? And they said, we'll call you back. And sure enough, they did. They called me right back, and they said, yeah, we would. So the first show that we did, we went to Taos Pueblo. And it was just great, you know.
In New Mexico.
In New Mexico, yeah, yeah. And we did real Native American programming, but Sesame Street style. And I stayed with Sesame Street for 5.5 years. It was just a brilliant experience. The writing just so perfect for little children and their caregivers. They never stereotyped me, although we did Native American programming. We also did breastfeeding.
You breastfed your son on the show?
Yeah, but not like some big deal, you know, just, it was beautiful, you know, the way they wrote it. I was sitting next to Big Bird's nest, and he looks over and he says, what are you doing, Buffy? And I said, I'm feeding the baby. And he said, that's a funny way to feed the baby. And I said, well, he gets everything that he needs for now, and I get to cuddle him. And Big Bird said, oh, that's nice, and went back to playing, which is what a little kid really would do. And we also did sibling rivalry episodes, and I brought Sesame Street to my backyard in Hawaii when they wanted to do some multicultural programming in the islands.
Buffy, you're going to have to go soon, and I wanted to talk about one of the songs on Running for the Drum, and it's America the Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Well, America the Beautiful has been recorded by so many different people, and it's also had verses added by many, many people. You go on the internet and you'll see there's all kinds of verses from all kinds of perspectives. I mean, some of them are really kind of racist, and others are just kind of natural and beautiful. But my friend John Harrington, Commander John Harrington, was the first Native American astronaut. And when he was going to get his ride, NASA invited me to sing, and invited a whole lot of people to come from his reservation, Chickasaw Reservation in Oklahoma. And I had been thinking about America the Beautiful, so I wrote new verses for it, and I also wrote an introduction for it. It says, there were Choctaws in Alabama, Chippewas in St. Paul, Mississippi mud runs like a river in me. America, ooh, she's like a mother to me. So it's, and the verses continue from there with small changes. And then there's a middle section too. But it really reflects kind of a different approach to America than you usually see in the headlines. It's about America the country, not America the nation state. It's about the real America that so many people, regardless of their political associations, really feel in their hearts, you know, this beautiful, beautiful place. So it's yet another take on America the Beautiful, and people seem to enjoy it.
Buffy Sainte-Marie, you mentioned the Cradleboard Teaching Project, but talk more about what you are dedicating your life to.
I'm dedicating my life to having a good time. I believe the Dalai Lama when he says, be happy. My happiness is found in connecting people. I really love the idea of connecting non-Native American people to Native American people through schools and through children and through teachers by putting Native American classes into the driver's seat of delivering our self-identity, whoever our nations are, to anybody who wants to know about it. And I like doing it for free.